The city is quiet, but it is not peaceful. A thin gray light hangs over Cologne. Smoke moves slowly between broken buildings. The streets are narrow. Rubble covers the ground. Windows are empty, like dark eyes watching in silence. Somewhere far away, a church bell stands still, frozen in time. An American tank rolls forward, slow and careful. Its engine hums low, almost afraid to make noise. Inside, the crew is tense. No one speaks much. Every sound feels louder than it should. Every corner feels dangerous. The men know this city is not empty. Something is waiting. Cologne is a trap. The tank turns into a street filled with debris. Burned vehicles lie pushed against the sides. A tram line bends upward where the road has collapsed. The crew looks ahead, then left, then right. Buildings rise close on both sides. Too close. This is not open land. This is a maze. Inside the tank, the air is heavy. The men sweat even though the air outside is cold. They listen for metal sounds. They listen for engines. They listen for movement that should not be there. They know the enemy has powerful tanks. Panther tanks. Big guns. Thick armor. Built for strength and fear. In the open fields, Panthers are kings. But this is a city. The tank stops. The engine idles. Silence returns, thick and uncomfortable. Somewhere ahead, dust falls from a wall. A small sound. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Across the city, a German tank crew waits. Their Panther is hidden behind a corner, half covered by broken stone. The gun points down the street. The men inside are tired. They are hungry. They have been fighting for too long. But they still believe in their machine. The Panther is strong. It has saved them before. They wait. Waiting is the hardest part. Cologne is no longer the proud city it once was. It was a place of music, trade, and life. Now it is cracked and burned. Civilians hide in basements. Families whisper in the dark. They do not know who controls the next street. They only know that the city is being torn apart piece by piece. For the American soldiers, Cologne is a step forward. A necessary one. They have crossed rivers. They have broken lines. They believe the end is coming closer. But belief does not remove fear. Not here. Not in streets where danger can hide behind every wall. Urban fighting is different. In a city, distance disappears. Long-range power means less. Vision is blocked. Sound bounces and lies. Tanks, built to fight across open land, now feel blind and slow. A strong machine can become weak in the wrong place. The American tank crew knows this. Their commander studies a map, but the map feels useless now. Many streets no longer exist as they once did. Buildings are gone. New paths appear through destruction. The city has changed faster than any map can follow. Orders come through the radio. Move forward. Secure the area. Watch for armor. Simple words. Heavy meaning. The tank moves again. Tracks grind against stone. The sound echoes between walls. Feels like an announcement. We are here. That is the danger. Above, from broken windows, empty rooms stare down. Any of them could hide an observer. Any movement could be reported. In cities, eyes are everywhere. Even when no one is seen. The crew tightens their grip. One man watches the front. Another listens to the radio. Another checks the sides. Each man trusts the others with his life. Not far away, the Panther crew hears the sound. Tracks on stone. An engine. Slow. Careful. American. They hold their breath. This is what they were trained for. Ambush. Surprise. One clean shot. But the street is tight. Too tight. If they fire and miss, there is no easy escape. The Panther is powerful, but it is not fast here. The city makes everyone equal in fear. Time stretches. Seconds feel long. Sweat runs down faces. Dust floats in the air, glowing in weak light. The American tank reaches an open square. Or what used to be one. The space is wider. The crew feels a small relief. Then it disappears. Open space also means exposure. They stop again. The commander raises his head slightly, just enough to see. He scans the area. A broken statue. A fallen sign. A dark street leading away like a throat. Something feels wrong. This battle is not loud yet. It is waiting to become loud. That waiting is the worst part. Cologne is important. Everyone knows it even if they do not speak it out loud. It sits near the river. It guards roads and bridges. Taking it means opening the way deeper into Germany. Losing it means slowing the enemy, buying time that Germany no longer has. Both sides feel the pressure. For the Americans there is confidence but also caution. They have better numbers, better support. But cities remove advantage. Cities punish mistakes fast. For the Germans, there is desperation mixed with pride. Resources are low. Fuel is short. But the Panther tank still feels like hope made of steel. A belief that strength can still change fate. Belief is powerful. But belief alone cannot change walls, corners, and blind spots. The city itself becomes a character in this story. It hides. It blocks. Surprises. It does not care who wins. A sudden movement in the distance. Just a shadow. Or maybe a trick of the eye. The American tank gun turns slowly. The sound feels loud in the quiet street. The crew holds still, waiting for a sign. Nothing happens. Across the city, another American unit advances. Infantry move carefully, using walls for cover. They look up, then forward. Tanks follow them like heavy guardians. Trust flows both ways. Soldiers protect tanks. Tanks protect soldiers. But protection is never perfect. The Panther crew tightens their hands on controls. They hear more engines now. More than one tank. More Americans are coming. The city is filling with them, street by street. The choice is coming. Stay hidden or strike. The longer they wait, the greater the risk of being surrounded. But striking too soon could mean death. This is not a battle of speed. It is a battle of nerves. Somewhere, a civilian child listens from underground. Boots pass overhead. Metal groans. Voices in a language they may or may not understand. War sounds the same in every tongue. Fear has no accent. The American commander whispers an order. The tank inches forward again. The tracks bite stone. Dust rises, then it happens. A loud crack echoes through the street. Not a hit. A warning shot. Or maybe debris falling. No one knows. Hearts jump. Fingers tighten. Muscles lock. This is how battles begin in cities. Not with clear lines. Not with flags or horns. But with confusion. With half-seen movements. With sounds that may mean everything or nothing. The Battle of Cologne is not yet fully alive. But it is waking up. Both sides feel it. The sense that this moment, this place, will decide something bigger than just a street or a tank. It will decide how the war moves forward. How much more suffering will follow. How quickly the end might come. As the first real shots approach, the city holds its breath. And so do the men inside the machines. The silence cannot last much longer. The silence breaks slowly, not all at once, but in pieces. A low engine sound echoes again through the streets. Then another. American tanks move in pairs now, careful not to rush. Infantry stay close, using walls and doorways for cover. Every step is measured. Every shadow is studied. Cologne does not forgive carelessness. Radio voices crackle inside the tanks. Short messages. Calm words hiding nervous thoughts. The commanders know this city fight cannot be won by power alone. It must be won by patience. Across the ruins, German defenders listen closely. Their world has become small. A few streets. A few blocks. What they hold now is all they have left. Retreat is difficult. Escape is uncertain. But stopping the enemy, even for a short time, still matters. Cologne matters. This city is more than broken stone. It is a door. Behind it lies the river. Behind the river lies the heart of Germany. Everyone understands this, even if they pretend not to. The Americans know that taking Cologne means speed. Speed toward the Rhine. Speed toward ending the war. But speed inside a city is dangerous. Push too fast and you lose men and machines. Move too slow and the enemy has time to prepare. This balance weighs heavily on every decision. The streets are narrow but the pressure is wide. The Americans have learned lessons from other cities. Tanks do not go first alone. Infantry clears corners. Scouts move ahead. Firepower waits until it is needed. Each move is part of a careful dance between steel and flesh. Still nothing feels safe. A tank pauses near a crossroads. The commander studies the buildings. Some walls are blackened by fire. Others are cracked open, showing rooms like broken boxes. Curtains move slightly in the wind. Or maybe from someone hiding. No one can be sure. A hand signal is given. Infantry fans out. Boots step over glass and stone. The sound feels loud even when soft. The men move fast but quietly, hearts beating hard. Suddenly, a German gun fires from deeper in the city. Not aimed at tanks. A warning. A signal. The battle is spreading now. American commanders hear the reports. German armor is still active. Panthers are somewhere ahead. Possibly more than one. The danger is real. The Panther tank is feared for a reason. Its gun is strong. Its armor is thick. On open ground, it can strike before the enemy even knows it is there. But here, its strength becomes a burden. It turns slowly. It struggles in tight streets. It needs space. The city steals that space. German crews know this too. They hide. They wait for moments when the enemy must cross open ground. A square. A wide road. A bridge approach. Patience becomes their weapon. The Americans feel the trap forming. They advance anyway. A tank moves forward and enters a wider street. For a moment, it feels exposed. Too exposed. The crew scans left and right. Nothing moves. Then a loud shot echoes. A Panther fires from a hidden position. The shell strikes a building instead of the tank. Stone explodes outward. Dust fills the air. The sound shakes the street. Everyone freezes. The American tank reverses quickly. Infantry dives for cover. Shouts fill the air. Radios crackle with urgent calls. The Panther has revealed itself, but only for a second. And then it is silent again. This is how the battle grows. Not in waves but in flashes. American commanders now know the truth. Panthers are still here. They are using the city to hide their strength. Every move forward will cost effort. Every corner could be deadly. The Americans change their approach. Instead of pushing straight, they begin to surround. Streets are blocked. Escape routes are cut. Infantry moves through buildings instead of streets. Walls are broken to create new paths. The city is reshaped again, this time by strategy. The Germans feel the pressure tightening. Supplies are low. Communication is difficult. Orders arrive late or not at all. The Panthers still have power, but power without support is fragile. One German crew hears nothing from nearby units. The radio is quiet. They are alone now. Still they wait. Leaving their position could mean running into infantry. Staying could mean being found. Fear creeps in slow and cold. The Americans push another block forward. They take control of a key intersection. From there, they can watch multiple streets. Tanks position themselves carefully, covering each other. Infantry holds the buildings. This is progress. Slow, costly, but real. Civilians stay hidden. They count time by sound. Engines. Shouts. Shots. Silence. No one knows who controls the street above their heads. Survival means waiting. The city seems to breathe with the battle. When firing stops, there is a strange calm. When it starts again, the ground feels alive. One Panther tries to move to a new position. Its engine roars loudly in the tight street. Too loud. An American tank hears it. The gun turns. A shot is fired. The Panther is forced to retreat behind cover. The message is clear. The city is no longer friendly to heavy armor. American confidence grows, but carefully. They know victory here does not mean celebration. It means control. Control of streets. Control of movement. Control of time. German resistance continues, but it feels thinner now. Less coordinated. More desperate. Commanders on both sides understand the truth forming in front of them. This battle is not about destroying everything. It is about who adapts faster, who learns, who accepts that old strengths may no longer work. As daylight fades, the city grows darker. Shadows deepen. The danger increases. Night in a ruined city belongs to fear. American units prepare to hold what they have gained. They dig in. They watch. They listen. No one relaxes. German defenders consider their next move. Hold longer. Or fall back. Pride fights logic. Duty fights survival. The Battle of Cologne is no longer a question. It is a fact. The opening moves are over. The city has shown its nature. The Panthers have shown their limits. The Americans have shown their patience. Now comes the phase where small choices will decide everything. A delayed order. A brave advance. A moment of hesitation. The battle is shifting quietly but clearly. And as night settles over Cologne, both sides know the hardest moments are still ahead. Night changes everything. Darkness settles over Cologne like a heavy blanket. The broken city looks different now. Shapes disappear. Corners grow deeper. Sounds travel farther. A single step can echo like a shout. Fear becomes sharper in the dark. American units hold their positions. Tanks stop their engines to reduce noise. Infantry spreads out inside buildings, watching staircases and windows. Men sit with their backs against cold walls. No one sleeps deeply. Every sound pulls them back to alertness. The city does not rest. From time to time, distant gunfire breaks the silence. Short, sudden, then quiet again. No one knows what it means. A warning, a clash, or just nerves. Inside one American tank, the crew whispers. They talk about home, about food, about normal things. It helps keep fear away. But fear always returns. The commander listens to the radio, waiting for updates. Orders may come at any moment. Across the city, German defenders feel the night closing in. They are tired beyond words. Their uniforms are dirty. Their faces are pale. The Panther crews know daylight will favor the Americans. Air support. Better coordination. More pressure. Night is their chance to survive. Some German units attempt to move quietly. They push their tanks inch by inch, engines barely running. They know the risk. One mistake could reveal everything. But staying still is also dangerous. The Americans are closing in block by block. Every decision feels final. A German officer studies a map under weak light. Many positions marked on it no longer exist. Units once nearby are gone. Destroyed. Captured. Or simply lost in the chaos. Communication has broken down. The city has swallowed the structure of command. This is no longer a clean defense. It is a struggle to delay the inevitable. In another part of Cologne, American infantry clears a building floor by floor. Doors are kicked open. Rooms are searched quickly. Not violently but carefully. The men are tense. Any space could hide danger. Any noise could mean trouble. They move on. Outside, a tank rolls slowly forward, covering the street. Its gun follows the windows above. The crew knows the danger from above is just as real as from ahead. Cities turn every level into a threat. The Americans are learning fast. As the hours pass, resistance becomes uneven. Some streets are quiet. Others explode with sudden action. German fire appears and disappears. Panthers strike and retreat. It is a battle of shadows now. One American unit reaches a vantage point overlooking a main road. From here they can see deeper into the city. Smoke rises in thin columns. Fires glow faintly. The scale of destruction becomes clear. Cologne is being emptied of its future. Commanders receive new reports. German armor activity is decreasing. Fuel shortages are limiting movement. Some Panther crews have been ordered to withdraw toward the river. Others are cut off. The trap is closing. But nothing feels like victory yet. American soldiers know that desperate enemies are often the most dangerous. A Panther with no escape may fight harder. A crew with nothing left to lose may take risks. The tension does not fade. At dawn, light slowly returns. Gray replaces black. Shapes come back into focus. Smoke hangs low, catching the morning light. The city looks wounded, tired, and old. With daylight, the Americans push again. Fresh units move forward. Coordination improves. Streets are cleared with care. Tanks support from a distance. Infantry leads the way. Lessons learned yesterday are applied today. The German defenders feel the pressure fully now. Movement becomes nearly impossible. Panthers are spotted more easily. Their hiding places are known. Every attempt to strike is met with quick response. One German crew realizes they are surrounded. Roads behind them are blocked. Streets ahead are covered. They wait, hoping for an order that may never come. This is the quiet tragedy of the battle. Not loud, not dramatic, just the slow closing of options. For the Americans, control grows. Not total yet, but steady. They secure key roads. They isolate pockets of resistance. The city begins to feel less like a maze and more like a map again. Cologne is slipping from German hands. Civilians begin to sense the change. The sounds shift. The movement above feels different. Some dare to peek outside. Others stay hidden, afraid to hope too soon. Hope is dangerous in war. By midday, it becomes clear to commanders on both sides that the outcome is taking shape. The Panthers, once symbols of strength, are now symbols of limitation. Powerful but out of place. Strong but trapped by the very city they defend. American strategy has worked. Not through speed. Not through force alone. But through patience, coordination, and learning. Still, the cost has been real. Exhaustion shows on every face. Loss hangs quietly in the air. No one celebrates. The battle is not over yet. There are still streets to clear. Still decisions to make. Still moments where one mistake could change everything. But the direction is set. Cologne is falling, not in a single moment, but through many small ones. As American units prepare for the final pushes and German defenders face the truth of their situation, the battle enters its most human phase. What happens next will not only decide the city. It will reveal the true cost of fighting a modern war inside ancient streets. And it will leave lessons that will echo far beyond Cologne. The final resistance does not come as a great last stand. It comes in fragments. A shot from a side street. A brief exchange near a corner. A Panther tank that fires once and then falls silent. The battle fades unevenly, like a storm breaking apart instead of crashing all at once. American units move carefully into areas that were once too dangerous to enter. They do not rush. They expect traps. They expect surprise. War has taught them that quiet moments can still be deadly. But slowly something changes. The city feels less hostile. Not safe. Never safe. But different. Radios carry clearer messages now. Streets are reported as secured. Intersections are marked. Control spreads like a slow tide. What was once confusion begins to form shape. German resistance is still present, but it is scattered. Some units fight on because they have orders. Others because they have nowhere else to go. Many are simply exhausted. The weight of months, even years, of war presses down on them. For Panther crews, the truth is painful. Their machines are still strong, but strength no longer decides the outcome. Fuel is gone. Support is gone. Escape routes are gone. The city has turned against them. One Panther sits abandoned near a ruined building. Its gun points down an empty street. The engine is silent. The crew is gone. Whether they escaped or surrendered is unknown. The tank remains, a symbol of power left behind by reality. American soldiers pass it carefully. They do not cheer. They do not celebrate. They look at it with respect and caution. They know what it could do. They know what it once meant. Now it means something else. As more streets are secured, civilians begin to emerge. Slowly. Carefully. Faces appear at broken doors. Hands rise, empty. Eyes search for signs of safety. The soldiers respond calmly. With simple words. With gestures. The war has been loud for too long. These quiet moments feel strange. Commanders assess the situation. Reports confirm what everyone already senses. The battle for Cologne is reaching its end. Not with a single final order, but through control, block by block. The city is no longer a battlefield everywhere. It is becoming a place again. For the Americans, there is relief mixed with exhaustion. The pressure eases slightly, but the war is not over. Beyond Cologne lies the river. Beyond the river lies more fighting. No one forgets that. For the Germans, the loss is heavy. Cologne was not just a position. It was a symbol. Its fall signals something deeper. A narrowing future. Fewer choices. Less time. The city has spoken. As the fighting quiets, the damage becomes clear. Buildings are shattered. Streets are broken. Lives have been turned upside down. No side escapes this cost. The Battle of Cologne was not decided by one heroic act or one perfect plan. It was decided by adaptation, by understanding that cities change the rules, that power must bend to environment, that fear must be managed, not ignored. Panther tanks were designed for dominance. In Cologne they met limits. American forces were not perfect, but they learned faster. They respected the danger. They adjusted. And that made the difference. As night approaches again, the city is quieter than it has been in days. Fires still burn in places. Smoke still rises. But the sound of constant movement is gone. Cologne rests, wounded but alive. This chapter ends not with celebration, but with understanding. Understanding that modern war is not only about machines and numbers, but about decisions made under pressure. About patience. About learning when old strengths no longer fit new realities. In the next chapter we will step back and ask the deeper question. Why this battle mattered far beyond the streets of Cologne, and how its lessons shaped the final path of the war itself. Cologne was not just another city on a long list of targets. It was a turning key. To understand why this battle mattered, we must step back from the streets and look at the map, the pressure, and the time running out for both sides. What happened in Cologne was not only about tanks and buildings. It was about momentum, about belief, about how close the war was to its final act. Cologne stood near the Rhine River, one of the last great natural barriers inside Germany. For the Allies, reaching the Rhine meant breaking into the heart of the country. It meant the enemy could no longer pretend the war was happening somewhere else. It meant the end was no longer distant. It was near. For Germany, Cologne was a shield. If that shield broke, the river would be exposed. Bridges would fall or be captured. Supply lines would collapse faster. Cities deeper inside Germany would face the same fate. Holding Cologne even for a short time could slow everything. Time was the real prize. By the time American forces reached Cologne, the war had already turned against Germany. Resources were low. Air power was weak. Fuel was scarce. But slowing the enemy still mattered. Every day gained was a day to reorganize, to defend, to hope for something to change. Cologne was a place to make that stand. For the Americans, the pressure was different. They had power and numbers, but they also had expectations. Leaders wanted speed. Citizens back home wanted progress. Every city taken was proof that the war was moving forward. Cologne was not just a military goal. It was a signal. A signal that the western path into Germany was open. Yet taking Cologne was not simple. Cities break plans. They turn clear strategies into questions. Tanks lose vision. Infantry faces hidden danger. Progress slows. Casual mistakes grow costly. This is why the battle mattered. If the Americans rushed and failed, the cost would be high. Morale could suffer. Momentum could slow. German defenders would gain confidence that cities could still stop the advance. If the Germans held too long, the city would be destroyed even further and the loss would still come. The question was not only who would win, but how. Cologne became a test. A test of whether modern armies could adapt quickly to urban war. A test of whether power could be used carefully, not just forcefully. A test of leadership under pressure. The Panther tanks represent this struggle clearly. On paper, Panthers were among the strongest tanks of the war. Thick armor. Strong guns. Long range. They were built to dominate open ground. German leaders believed in them deeply. In some cases, too deeply. Cologne challenged that belief. Inside the city, Panthers could not fight the way they were designed to fight. Their strengths became limits. Their size restricted movement. Their power demanded space. Their crews faced fear not from distant enemies, but from nearby corners and unseen angles. For the Americans, Cologne showed that victory did not require the strongest machine. It required teamwork. Tanks working with infantry. Movement guided by patience. Learning faster than the enemy. This lesson mattered beyond Cologne. Future cities would be fought. Other armies would face the same problems. What happened here became a quiet example of how cities change war. There was also a human meaning. Cologne was home to civilians who had little choice in any of this. For them, the battle decided when the fear would end, when hiding could stop, when life could begin again even among ruins. Each day the battle lasted meant more uncertainty for them. Each delay meant more nights underground listening to the sound of war above. From a wider view, the fall of Cologne sent a message across Germany. If a city so important, so symbolic, could fall, then no city was truly safe. The Rhine was no longer a distant line. It was a looming reality. For German soldiers elsewhere, this mattered deeply. Belief is fragile. When symbols fall, belief weakens. For Allied soldiers, Cologne offered proof that the hardest phase was working. That careful planning and adaptation could overcome fearsome defenses. Confidence grew, but it was a mature confidence, shaped by experience. This battle also marked a shift in thinking. Earlier in the war, speed and force often decided outcomes. By Cologne, thoughtfulness and coordination mattered more. The war had evolved. So had the men fighting it. Cologne was not the largest battle. It was not the bloodiest. But it sat at a crossroads of strategy, psychology, and timing. That is why it mattered. It showed that the end of the war would not be decided by one massive clash alone. It would be decided by many smaller decisions in many cities, where adaptation mattered more than raw power. As the dust settled over Cologne, leaders on both sides understood something important. The war had entered its final, most complex phase. Before the first American tank entered Cologne, the battle had already begun in the minds of leaders far away from its streets. The world before Cologne was a world under pressure. On the Allied side, confidence was growing, but it was not careless confidence. The long road across Europe had taught hard lessons. Every victory had come with cost. Every success had revealed new problems. By the time American forces reached Western Germany, they knew the enemy was weaker but also more desperate. Desperation makes war unpredictable. Commanders felt the weight of expectation. They were expected to move fast, to keep pushing, to avoid getting stuck. Every delay raised questions. Every pause risked losing momentum. The goal was clear. Reach the Rhine, cross it, end the war. But the path was not simple. Cities stood in the way. Rivers, broken bridges, narrow roads. Cologne was not an accident. It was the result of a long chain of choices made months earlier. Choices about where to push, where to pause, where to accept risk. On the German side, the world looked very different. The war was closing in. The Eastern Front was collapsing. The skies belonged to the enemy. Supplies were running low. Fuel was precious. Train crews were harder to replace than machines. Yet orders remained strict. Hold ground. Slow the enemy. Use strong positions. Trust in weapons that had worked before. German leadership still believed that powerful machines could change outcomes. Panther tanks were part of this belief. They were seen as answers to many problems. Even when the situation changed, belief did not change as quickly. This gap between belief and reality grew wider with each passing week. Cities like Cologne became symbols of resistance. Not because they could truly be held forever, but because they offered something valuable. Time. Every day the enemy was delayed mattered. Every street forced the Americans to slow down. Cologne sat at the center of this thinking. The city was damaged but still strong in position. Roads led through it. Rail lines crossed nearby. The Rhine waited just beyond. Losing Cologne meant opening a door that could not be closed again. German commanders knew this. They felt it. Even if they did not say it openly, they understood that Cologne was one of the last chances to shape how the war would end. For American planners, Cologne was a challenge they could not avoid. Skipping it was not an option. Leaving strong enemy forces behind was dangerous. It risked attacks on supply lines. It risked chaos later. So the city had to be faced. The build-up toward Cologne was quiet but tense. Units were repositioned. Supplies were gathered. Intelligence was shared and questioned. Reports came in, some accurate, some not. The fog of war thickened as the city drew closer. American soldiers sensed the change. The fighting felt different now. Closer to the enemy's home. More personal. The land itself felt heavier. German soldiers felt it too. They were no longer defending distant ground. They were defending familiar places. Streets they may have walked before the war. Buildings that once meant normal life. This made the pressure stronger. Morale on both sides was complex. Americans believed they were winning, but they also knew the enemy could still hurt them. Germans knew they were losing ground, but they still felt duty, fear, and pride pulling them forward. Overconfidence existed but not where it had before. American overconfidence was checked by experience. They had learned that victory was never free. German overconfidence lived more in machines than in plants. A dangerous place for it to live. As the days moved closer to the battle, the city waited. Civilians felt the tension without understanding the plans. They heard rumors. They felt the earth shake. They watched soldiers move through their streets. Many had already lost homes. Others clung to them, hoping they would survive one more fight. The weather added to the mood. Gray skies. Cold air. Smoke that never fully cleared. The kind of days where time feels slow and heavy. Everything pointed toward collision. When the first American units reached the edges of Cologne, there was no dramatic announcement. No single moment. Just movement. Careful, quiet movement. The sense that something important was about to happen. The world before the battle was full of choices already made. Paths already chosen. Mistakes already set in motion. Cologne did not appear suddenly. It was the result of pressure building from all sides, squeezing toward one unavoidable place. And when the battle finally began, it carried all of that weight with it. The Battle of Cologne was shaped as much by minds as by machines. Behind every movement, every pause, every sudden advance, there were people making choices under heavy pressure. Some gave orders from maps and radios. Others followed those orders from inside steel shells or ruined buildings. All of them carried fear, belief, doubt, and responsibility. On the American side, commanders faced a difficult balance. They had strength. They had numbers. They had support. But they also had memories of past mistakes. Cities had punished carelessness before. Rushing forward could look brave, but it could also be foolish. Every lost tank meant lives at risk. Every wrong turn could stall the entire advance. American commanders thought carefully about Cologne. They did not see it as a single fight, but as many small ones. Street by street. Building by building. Their goal was not dramatic victory. It was control. Control of movement. Control of time. Control of fear. Many of these leaders had learned the hard way that shouting orders did not win urban battles. Listening did. Adjusting did. Trusting soldiers on the ground mattered more than perfect plans made far away. They encouraged cooperation. Tanks were not kings here. Infantry was not alone. Each needed the other. This belief shaped how the battle unfolded. Inside the tanks, the mindset was different but connected. Tank commanders were trained for speed and power. In Cologne, they had to unlearn parts of that training. They moved slower. They waited more. They trusted infantry to guide them through danger they could not see. This required humility. It is not easy to slow down when danger is close. It is not easy to trust others when your life depends on timing. But many American crews did exactly that. They accepted that survival in a city came from teamwork, not dominance. Fear was always present. Inside a tank, fear feels close. The walls are thick but the space is tight. Sounds echo. The engine vibrates. Every hit, even when harmless, feels personal. Crews learn to manage fear by focusing on small tasks. Check the corner. Watch the window. Listen to the radio. Fear was not weakness. It was information. On the German side, the mindset was heavier. German commanders in Cologne knew the larger picture was grim. They understood that resources were limited and options were shrinking. Yet their orders remained clear. Hold as long as possible. Slow the enemy. Use what strength remained. This created tension between duty and reality. Some commanders believed deeply in the Panther tank. They trusted its power. They trusted its reputation. For years, German armor had been a symbol of strength. Letting go of that belief was difficult. Others were more cautious. They saw how cities stripped Panthers of their advantages. They worried about fuel, about support, about being surrounded. But speaking these doubts openly was not always welcome. Belief and obedience did not always align with survival. Inside Panther tanks, the experience was intense. German crews were often young. Many had trained hard, But time and resources had limited their preparation. They believed in their machine because belief was necessary. Without it, fear would take over. In the open, Panthers felt powerful. In Cologne, they felt watched. The city pressed in on them. Corners hid danger. Narrow streets limited movement. Communication was difficult. Orders came late or not at all. The crews had to decide for themselves when to wait and when to move. Every choice felt risky. Some crews chose patience. They waited for perfect moments. Others chose movement, hoping to find better positions. Both choices carried danger. Waiting risked being surrounded. Moving risked exposure. Fear shaped every second. German commanders faced their own struggle. They had to decide where to commit their strongest assets. Holding one street might cost another. Saving a tank crew might mean losing ground. Sacrifice was no longer a concept. It was a daily calculation. As the battle went on, the mental weight increased. American commanders felt responsibility for momentum. Every delay risked slowing the larger plan. They pushed but carefully. They adjusted when things went wrong. Flexibility became their strength. German commanders felt the weight of inevitability. They fought not for victory but for delay. This is a hard fight to lead. Asking men to risk their lives to buy time requires belief of a different kind. Some believed. Some doubted. All felt the pressure. On both sides, communication shaped outcomes. Clear radio messages saved lives. Confused ones cost time. In cities, radios failed easily. Walls blocked signals. Noise overwhelmed voices. Commanders had to trust initiative. Soldiers had to act without waiting. This freedom was empowering for some, terrifying for others. The human mind reacts differently under stress. Some focus. Some freeze. Some take risks they would never take elsewhere. Cologne exposed these differences clearly. A calm commander could steady a unit. A panicked one could spread fear quickly. Leadership was not about rank here. It was about presence. American units that trusted their leaders moved with confidence, even when afraid. German units with strong bonds held longer than expected, even when cut off. The battle was not just tanks against tanks. It was confidence against doubt. Adaptation against habit. Learning against tradition. As the fighting continued, minds changed. American leaders grew more certain that patience worked. German leaders saw more clearly that strength alone was not enough. Some accepted this. Others clung to hope longer than they should have. Cologne became a place where illusions broke. Not all at once. Slowly. Quietly. Through repeated moments where reality refused to bend. By the time the battle reached its critical phase, many decisions had already been shaped by these mental struggles. The outcome was being decided not only by firepower, but by which side understood the situation more clearly. The Battle of Cologne was a clash of steel, yes. But more than that, it was a clash of minds under pressure. Morning returns to Cologne without mercy. Light exposes everything that darkness hid. Broken walls. Burned streets. The still shapes of abandoned machines. Smoke rises again as if the city itself is breathing out pain. The battle no longer waits. It moves. American units advance with purpose now. Not fast. Not reckless. Purposeful. The lessons of the past days guide every step. Tanks stop short of intersections. Infantry moves first. Signals pass by hand and glance. The city is being read, not rushed. A tank rolls forward and halts before a wide crossing. The gun turns slowly, searching windows, doorways, rooftops. Nothing moves. That silence feels heavier than noise. Everyone senses it. Silence here means someone is thinking. Then it breaks. A sudden shot echoes from deep down a side street. The sound cracks the air. Stone bursts from a wall. Dust floods the road. The Americans react instantly. Infantry dives for cover. The tank backs away just enough to shield itself. Radios fill with urgent voices. The battle ignites fully now. German defenders strike where they can. From hidden corners. From narrow alleys. From behind broken facades. Panther tanks appear briefly, fire, and disappear again. They do not stay exposed. They cannot afford to. American units respond with control. They do not chase blindly. They mark positions. They communicate. They bring infantry forward to close the distance that tanks cannot see. The city becomes a chessboard of danger. Every move changes the balance. A Panther tank fires from behind a collapsed building. Its gun roars through the street. The shot misses its target but sends a clear message. The Americans know its position now. The Panther must move or it will be trapped. But moving is dangerous. The Panther turns slowly. Its engine growls. The sound gives it away. An American tank crew hears it and pivots. The gun aligns. A shot rings out. The Panther disappears behind cover again, barely escaping. Both sides feel the tension tighten. This is no longer probing. This is control fighting for control. Infantry clears buildings one by one. Rooms are searched quickly. Stairs are climbed with care. Every door is treated as a question mark. The men move with focus, not anger. Survival demands calm. The city fights back in small ways. Floors collapse. Walls crumble. Dust blinds eyes. Sound confuses direction. The environment itself becomes part of the battle. German resistance hardens in certain pockets. Small groups hold key streets. They fight because they must. Because retreat is blocked. Because surrender feels impossible. Their goal is no longer victory. It is delay. Delay has a cost. American forces feel that cost too. Progress is slow. Exhaustion builds. The stress of constant alertness drains energy faster than movement ever could. Faces grow pale. Hands shake when they finally rest. But the advance continues. A key intersection falls under American control. From there, multiple streets can be watched. Tanks position carefully. Infantry digs in. This small gain changes everything. German movement becomes more limited. Options shrink. Panther crews feel it immediately. They are no longer hunters. They are being hunted. One Panther attempts to relocate under cover of smoke. It moves only a short distance before being spotted. American infantry signals its position. A tank gun turns. The Panther stops, trapped between narrow walls. The crew faces a terrible choice. Stay and risk being surrounded. Or abandon the machine and disappear into the city. They choose survival. The Panther remains behind, silent and still. Another powerful weapon removed without a dramatic fight. The city claims it. These moments repeat. Not all Panthers are abandoned. Some fight until they can no longer move. Others withdraw toward the river, seeking escape or new orders. But each movement becomes harder. American commanders sense the shift. They press carefully but steadily. They block roads. They cut off pockets. They deny movement. The city tightens like a net. German communication falters further. Radios fail. Messengers do not return. Orders become guesses. Coordination fades. Units fight alone. Fear grows quieter but deeper. The sound of battle becomes uneven. Intense in one block. Silent in the next. The pattern confuses everyone. No one knows where the next threat will come from. Civilians remain hidden, listening. The tone of the fighting changes. Less chaos. More direction. They sense that control is changing hands. By midday, the balance is clear to those closest to it. The Americans are not winning quickly. But they are winning surely. German defenders still resist, but their efforts feel scattered. The Panthers, once symbols of dominance, now feel isolated. Their strength cannot reach beyond their immediate view. The city has decided how this battle will be fought. Commanders on both sides act with this understanding. American leaders focus on isolation and patience. German leaders focus on holding what little ground remains, knowing time is nearly gone. As the afternoon wears on, resistance weakens further. Streets once defended fall quiet. The Americans move into them cautiously, weapons ready, expecting surprise. Often there is none. The silence now feels different. Less threatening. More final. Cologne's battle is not ending with a single dramatic moment. It is ending through exhaustion. Through limitation. Through the simple fact that one side can no longer respond everywhere at once. As evening approaches, American forces prepare for the last pushes. German defenders face the truth that cannot be avoided. The city is slipping away. Not because of overwhelming force, but because adaptation, coordination, and patience have reshaped the fight. Cologne stands as proof that in modern war, power alone is never enough. And as the light fades once more, the battle moves closer to its quiet conclusion. As the fighting slows, the true weight of the battle begins to show. It shows in the way soldiers move more carefully, even when streets seem quiet. It shows in the tired eyes that scan windows again and again, long after danger has passed. It shows in the pauses between orders, where everyone waits just a moment longer than before. The city is still standing, but it feels drained. American soldiers sit against broken walls, helmets resting on their knees. Some drink water slowly. Others simply stare at the ground. Their bodies are here, but their minds are still moving through the streets they just crossed. Fear does not leave quickly. It lingers. Tank crews climb out when they can. Fresh air feels strange after hours inside steel. They stretch stiff arms and legs. They check their machines, touching the armor as if to confirm it is real. Many say nothing. There are no words that fit. Nearby, infantry moves among them, quiet and respectful. They know how close things came. They know how easily luck could have turned. The human cost of the battle is not measured only by what is lost. It is measured by what is carried forward. German soldiers feel this weight even more deeply. Many are exhausted beyond limits. Some have not slept properly in days. Their uniforms hang loose. Their faces are drawn and pale. The pressure of holding a losing position has taken its toll. For Panther crews who survived, there is a deep sense of loss. Not just of the city, but of belief. The machine they trusted did not save them here. The streets took away its strength. That realization is hard to accept. Some German soldiers surrender quietly when they realize the fight is over. Hands raised. Eyes lowered. There is no drama. Just relief mixed with shame and sadness. They are treated firmly but calmly. War ends for them in this moment. Others slip away, blending into the ruins, hoping to reach the river or friendly lines. Their future is uncertain. But staying is no longer possible. Civilians emerge slowly now. At first only a few. Then more. They move carefully as if the ground itself might still be dangerous. Faces appear in doorways. Children cling to adults. People look at soldiers with a mix of fear, curiosity, and tired hope. The city smells of dust and smoke. It feels older than it did before the battle. Time has weighed on it. American units set up control points. Roads are watched. Buildings are secured. Order begins to return, but it is fragile. Everyone knows this calm rests on exhaustion, not peace. Commanders walk through the streets, speaking quietly to their men. They acknowledge effort. They check positions. They plan what comes next. There is little celebration. No cheering. Victory here feels heavy. Because the cost is visible everywhere. Buildings are shattered. Homes are gone. Places that once held life now hold silence. The battle did not choose these streets, but it changed them forever. From a military view, the outcome is clear. Cologne is under American control. The Panther tanks that once threatened the advance are no longer a unified force. Some are destroyed. Some abandoned. Some withdrawn. Their role as a barrier has ended. The Rhine lies closer now. For American forces, this victory opens the way forward. Bridges and crossings become the next focus. Supply lines extend. Plans move from struggle to execution. The war is not over, but the path ahead is clearer. For Germany, the loss of Cologne is another step back. Another signal that the defenses inside the country are breaking down. The idea of stopping the enemy at the western cities fades further. Morale suffers quietly. News travels fast among soldiers. If Cologne has fallen, what can truly be held? What remains to protect? These questions do not need answers to be powerful. Yet the battle's meaning goes beyond maps and movement. Cologne teaches lessons written in experience. It shows that powerful weapons do not guarantee control. That environment shapes outcomes as much as strength. That armies must learn, adapt, and cooperate or fail. It shows that urban war punishes arrogance and rewards patience. For the men who fought here, these lessons are personal. They are carried in memory, in habit, in the way they approach the next street, the next city, the next fight. As night falls again, the city grows quiet in a new way. Not the tense quiet of waiting, but the tired quiet of something finished. Fires still burn in places. Smoke still drifts. But the sound of constant movement is gone. The ground no longer shakes with engines. The air feels still. Cologne rests. Not healed. Not whole. But alive. The Battle of Cologne did not end the war. But it marked a moment when the shape of the end became clearer. A moment when belief shifted, strategies changed, and limits were revealed. For the soldiers, it becomes another memory layered onto many others. For the civilians, it becomes a dividing line between before and after. For history, it becomes a lesson written in stone and steel. War does not announce its lessons loudly. It teaches them quietly through cities like Cologne, where fear met patience, and where adaptation proved stronger than raw power. And as the war moves on beyond the river, Cologne remains behind, changed forever, holding the echoes of decisions made under pressure, and the human cost of a battle fought inside its ancient streets.